Are you ready to take your investment game to the next level? Introducing Digital Investor, your ultimate guide to mastering the digital marketplace. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, Digital Investor brings you cutting-edge game theoretical strategies, expert insights, and real-time tips and tactics to analyze, evaluate, invest, and grow your wealth. Don't miss out on the digital revolution. Visit www.nickblacknext.com and start your journey with Digital Investor today. Are you ready?
Well, are you? Brandon,
what's going on? I just pulled this up. Do you know what happened this morning? I didn't see that. So the market's doing fairly well, but I saw the Trump odds on Polymarket went through like quite quickly. What happened this morning? Did Kamala do something funny?
probably it's just. I mean, I don't know if there's anything more funny than just watching that vice presidential debate.
I mean,
watching that guy spend 17 minutes unwinding a simple question. Were you in Tiananmen Square? Oh, man, I use a special chlorine on my pool, and my clothes use you should see the starch on these buttons right here. Amazing. My grandmother gave me these cufflinks. I got this scar in Vietnam. What?
What are you talking about? Look at that jump. Dude, it was like, seriously, it was 50%, 50-50, and now Trump went up to 55%. Kamala went down to 45%. Now it's at 53-46. So it's quite a jump. 10% spread.
He's giving her the beans.
Who knows, man? That was a crazy little jump. It jumped when crypto jumped. It was like simultaneous this morning. Like go overlay this chart.
Then there may be something. I was looking because I know there's a bunch of data coming out. Oh, by the way, that tomorrow is that documentary.
Yes. Are you watching it? I don't have HBO, but I guess I can watch it somehow. I'll figure out ways. Let's see what happened. Maybe do you guys know in the chat?
I know. I usually shoot over to the evil ones at CNBC to see if something's weird.
Yeah.
It right now says stocks fall, pressured by higher rates and rising oil prices. Higher rates. See, when the Fed's cutting and rates are going up, that's because people are hedging that way. Like everything the Fed has done, the market has gone the other direction. That should tell just even the simplest people that the Fed has zero control over this thing. They're trying to fly a plane with a blinker. Like, well, there's a mountain there. It's cool. We turn on the blinker. Right. But are you going to dodge the mountain? No, we don't do anything with the wings and stuff. We have a blinker. You're going to have to get the market to get under to do all the blowing and the winding. We just use the blinker. All right, guys. God.
I did see this. I did see Kamala was on that podcast. Oh. Why would she go on this podcast and not any like legitimate ones? Why would she do this to herself? Does she think it's because of the wokeness, right? She's woke. So that's where she thought she should go.
So stupid. God, people are stupid. Who's advising her? Like someone on Twitter? Did she meet her? Did she get her cabinet on X?
Hey, G Moy, go ahead and log back out and log back in. That's usually fixes everything. I know we did have some hiccups, so just log back out and then log back in.
I
This
even had to
isn't-
log out and log in
Hey.
because my computer was turning
Yeah.
on music
Tom,
files.
yeah, you should be able to log back out and log back in, Tom. Look, it's I show it live on my screen, so I know it works. Like that's why I'm showing it right here, so you guys can see that it's live. Even if I refresh here, let's see. Yep, still live. So if I log back out, because I had the same issue, I logged in and it wasn't there. It just showed the stream sit placeholder, and then I logged back out, log back in. I fixed something, so that's what you should be able to do, and be good. But yeah, I don't know what's happening with Polymarket or why. Oh, look, it's dropping serendipitously now. Let's see if it's crypto's dropping too with it.
Oh, should we go take a look at market? Should we? I mean, we're not.
Yeah, pull up markets and let's just see where it's at. If it
usually start. With
yeah, it dropped it. Oh my gosh, it's dropping like exactly with this Polymarket chart.
It froze.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so I do want to talk about something that was commented here. But yeah, look at markets compared to it. Like it's, oh shoot, I just closed market. I just closed the chart. The Bitcoin chart. Let me pull it back up. Here,
So
look at markets.
Bitcoin dropped from 64, so it's down about $500. But like it's still
but it's exactly with this. Exactly. Like if you go look at it, like as soon as this started dropping, crypto started dropping with it. Like exactly with it. That's kind of crazy. That's how much people are putting weight. And this is my thesis too, coming up here in November. I think there's going to be a lot of clarity once we have November. But I think Bitcoin, if Kamala wins, it'll go to 50,000. If Trump wins, it'll go to 100,000. So I don't think it'll drop like to zero, like everybody says, but it'll drop a little bit and then it'll slowly rebound. But if Trump wins, we will see 100,000 Bitcoin by December. Like that's just right.
Well,
am I way off here? Way off.
Well, I wouldn't say you're way off based on right now prices, but we also don't know what the price is going to be on the 3rd of November.
Oh, that's true.
We don't know. So we can't really say that. But I think that a Trump win is 20K tacked onto Bitcoin at whatever point, wherever Bitcoin is, a Trump win is probably worth 20,000. A Trump loss is probably worth 20,000. Right? Like the other way.
Yeah.
Although
I think we see a little bit different. I think we see a bigger up if Trump wins and a smaller down if Kamala wins. So I think 20,000 down, 30 to 40,000 up if Trump wins.
I mean, maybe there's no way to know how excited people will get. I think that it's probably more bullish if Gary Gensler gets nuked.
Yes.
If they bounce his dumb ass on out there, it probably looks really good.
So this is what Kyril thinks. Bull trap.
I don't know. I don't believe any of that shit.
Yeah.
No one's trapping anybody. I mean, I know what you're saying, but those terms are flawed. Those terms assume that there's this nefarious group of traders that's trying to lure other traders into their very clever fucking none of that's happening. None. Fucking zero. None. Whales aren't doing shit anymore because they're worried about the tax implications. About the most you see is people trying to do the new version of spoofing, which is moving tokens to an exchange just to make everyone think they're going to sell and then moving them off the exchange. So even I don't believe any of that. Now, if you're using bull trap to mean a term, to mean something that happens on a chart well, then that's the derivative of the derivative of the derivative. No one in crypto is that fucking clever. That's the problem. These people there's rich people that got in early. There's rich people that got other people to give them money so they could be rich. And there's people that ain't rich. That's kind of it. The people that already have tons of money, they're not bull trapping, bear trapping, anyone ever. The people that are shorting, it's the same group of assholes that would be trading meme coins that spent one more hour learning about crypto. They're trading with 100x leverage. That's that group. They always get blown up. They train $68, and then they're part of the 69,000 people in this jobs report that just went back to work in the bar and at restaurants and in leisure and what is it? Leisure and travel. Those are those jobs numbers.
Mhm.
Now, the China thing, I think it's more to do with the Beijing bazooka and the trillions of renminbi that they're supposed to put into the economy. That's going to be amazing. Except that China's done this before, and it's not been amazing. It's not been much of anything. So, you know how it is. You can't print prosperity, right? Like, here, print more. I mean, Tether's trying. They're printing a billion Tether a day. Do you think it's cute that they're doing their own documentary?
Wait, Tether's doing their own documentary on themselves?
Yeah, celebrating 10 years of Tether.
They've never had an auto documentary?
They've never had a successful audit. But They can have a successful documentary?
Yeah, they can. Yes, they can.
How many US dollars are there? What? What are they going to talk about? Everybody on there is a convicted felon. The whole team.
Getting kicked out of the EU. Is that what they're doing too? They're like done in the EU because they didn't have their own euro.
Are they getting booted?
Yeah, they're getting delisted in the EU on Coinbase or something like that. Let's see. Tether.
I thought that was all stable coins that didn't meet a certain amount of like viable auditability and responsible like reporting and stuff. I think they all go. I think that's what the EU thing is.
Yeah, that says Coinbase plans to remove stablecoins such as USDT from their platform if they do not meet EU regulations by December 30th. This is because stablecoin issuers must obtain e-money authorization in the EU, which is fine, right? So they should be able to become compliant or else they're going to get delisted.
Nice try, Howard. Nice try. But I've got my coffee, so I'm not going to let you turn me into a rant. I won't do it.
I think compliance is fine. We gotta follow the rules, right?
Chris, what did you mean? Chris, what did you mean by that? What would you like to see back stable coins? See back
dollars? Wait, dollars, right?
Oh, like what assets? Well,
dollar. I mean, if it's USDC, it has to be dollars.
Actual dollars in a bank account
with a verified audit.
Yeah,
right.
And if not that, the treasuries and proofs and receipts of those purchases. If you're holding treasuries like they say, what they do is they say, oh, we've got cash and we've got treasuries and we've got some corporate debt. What? Just some corporate debt. What corporate debt? Just corporate debt, man. Shh. You're asking too many questions. Corporate debt. Oh, okay. All right. Corporate debt then. Corporate debt is the winner. Are they in debt to themselves? Are they in debt to Bitfinex? You realize that they were working with an exchange to pull this little Ponzi for years. Like, this is not a new thing. And then every one of them got indicted, all of them. All of them had to report. All of them paid every single person there, all of them, every single executive paid a fine, reported, collected their felony badge, which I'm not against that. Good for you. Like, I don't really care about that. And I'm not against stable coins. I'm against bullshit counterfeiting operations. And Tether is and seems like it always will be a bullshit counterfeiting operation. Nothing's changed. Matter of fact, it seems like they've been given the green light to print whatever they want. They're printing more money in the Bahamas than enters the Bahamas. So Brandon, I give you
the entire Bahamas.
Yeah, in the entire Bahamian banking system, it takes in like $3 billion a quarter. They're printing like $1 billion a day, or like $500 million a day. It's not U.S. government bad. I think Brandon, we talked about this last night. It's almost $1 trillion a quarter. This is a pivot. It's almost $1 trillion a quarter. The U.S. government is going into debt. $1 trillion a quarter. That's 3 to 4 trillion a year, and that expands because the U.S. can't service debt payments. Like they can't serve. The U.S. can't pay the credit card, the monthly minimum payments on their credit cards.
Ugh.
It doesn't make any sense. Oh, this is the most safe liquid. It's the best economy, and so. I mean, that should tell you how bad the rest of the world is. Like how much of a dumpster fire it is.
Yeah.
It's insanity. You got yourself a 1, then you got yourself some commas, and you got like 12 zeros. That
How
bad.
big is a trillion? How big is a trillion?
It's
big. It's
the
big.
thing is, well, so I've talked to.
I'll show you on the debt clock.
Well, I have my buddy. Yeah, put the debt clock on. So
yeah, let's put the debt clock on there because that's always fun to see the trillions just stack up here.
My buddy Ben is a
always fun.
Is a hedge fund guy, and he runs a fund, and he was an old bond market guy for like many years, Brooklyn, all this, like legit, like down in the dirt, kind of like floor trader. And I said, at some point, isn't it unrepayable? He said, it's already unrepayable. And then he said, but no one cares. He's like, as long as it slowly creeps up, no one cares. And I oddly am starting to agree with him.
Well,
I don't think anyone cares.
Why would we care? Because it doesn't affect you or me. Like it doesn't. Oh, you have more debt. You need to stop spending, right? You can't buy groceries.
It indirectly does.
Yeah, but it doesn't affect me directly, which is all that matters. That's all that people care about, right?
No, it does affect your savings, though. Like
I don't have any savings. Nobody who has any intelligence has any savings.
True, but you know what? Most Americans have some savings.
No, you don't. You shouldn't ever. You shouldn't have any savings.
Between me and you, yes, you're right. But,
okay.
But speaking about like per capita, people keep their money in a bank. Some people invest, but we know that's only like 3 out of 100 people, and only 1 out of 100 companies. But what happens is, as this debt continues to go up, and debt service continues to not be repaid, and they create more currency units, it creates debasement effects. And those debasement effects, it's another kind of, it's an input into inflationary effects, right? There's a lot of ways you can get inflationary effects. Simply making more currency units, that's an easy one. And you can directly look at that. Our buying power, every second when you watch those numbers just squiggle upwards, your buying power is just getting disintegrated. Oh. And then these guys will have a house. They're like, my house went up by 3x. No, it didn't, you douche. It's your dollar went down by that. That's the problem. Is there's an almost in linear real estate markets, it's inversely proportionate.
I saw this chart, and this is from 1960. The S&P 500 has gone up 8,000%, but once you adjust for inflation, I guess it's only 600%, right? So it's like, that's a huge discrepancy.
That's a big discrepancy.
Is this section new? The U.S. federal debt to GDP ratio in 1960 was 53%. In 1980, it actually went down to 34%.
Reaganomics, bro.
Up a little bit. 2000. Yeah. Now it's 124% of GDP.
But you guys realize what that means? Does everybody here understand when you have over 100% debt to GDP? that means
we're talking GDP.
That means if you make 100K a year, you have 124K a year in debt. So I'm taking in 100, but I owe 124. I guess for the U.S. government, it's we lose a little on every deal, but we make it up in volume. What? So, yeah. Unfunded liabilities. Look at the unfunded liabilities part in the bottom right.
We got bottom right. Where's this? Bottom right corner. Bottom left, maybe.
It's a big number. Let me get the banner off of there. Let me get that.
The unfunded debt. Oh, the unfunded debt. Okay, let me scroll down. Hold on. There you go. Right here. This is this section right here. Whoa, we have a pop-up. Okay, so yeah. Personal debt per citizen, $75,941. Okay, that's interest. So interest per year per adult's $20,000. That can't be right.
It can be. It can be.
This is the biggest sham. This is, in my opinion, and I teach this to my kids. Obviously, student debt, $39,000. There's no reason college and education should be costing what it does at all.
Oh, that shit's going away. All that shit's going away. There's not going to be colleges and university in the same kind of experience won't exist 5 years from now. I mean,
I
it
sure
already
hope not.
it's already starting to go away.
That's a big money-making racket, is colleges and universities. Holy crap. That is the biggest sham. You shouldn't have to take intro to arborism if you're going
You-
as an as you're
no,
going
you,
if you're
you mean intro to intro.
yeah, intro to intro. You shouldn't have to pay $1,200 for a semester of intro to intro if you're working on an economics degree. You shouldn't have to study the trees and the bees, well, maybe the birds and the bees, if you're working on a major in accounting.
So, you know what it is? It is a grift. Lisa, you're right. But I will tell you what it does. This used to be the purpose of college. One, get out of your parents' house and go kind of be on your own and live amongst a group of people that are living on their own. And first, depending on where you were, it either meant get high and drunk a lot or whatever. But you're in your own first society with your own autonomy. Second, it meant to employers that by hook or crook, you could do something consistently and show up on time consistently for 4 years. That's what it meant. You could show up on time consistently somewhere, and that might make you a good employee. It's another way to box people into the kind of person that you want in the aggregate society. And that's that's pretty important. I think they do a much different job of this in China, where at a really early age, they start testing everyone and they start sending you towards the direction of the job skills where you have the most aptitude. Because let's be honest, IQ is not evenly distributed. There's a lot of peaks and valleys, and ditches won't dig themselves any more than particle physics will solve itself until we get to AGI. So some people are better at different things, and that's just a reality.
Whoa.
So
okay. I found out what Barry was talking about. This is actual liabilities, right? Unfunded. So this means like the future debt that we possibly have.
Yeah,
correct? Is that what that is?
This is something me and Barry have been kind of have been chatting about for quite a bit. Barry, we've been on this for a minute, right?
Yeah. I have not seen that number before. That is fast.
Oh, yeah. So when you start tacking on all of the unfunded liabilities that the U.S. government will owe, bailing out Social Security, bailing out the pension funds, like go down the list of unfunded, can't be funded liabilities. And then you tack that number on, because you guys know, I think it is that Social Security was no longer viable in March of this year, but it's actually broken in I think it's like March or April of 2034. I think that's the actual drop dead date. One of you could look it up, but there's an actual drop dead date where essentially Social Security's bankrupt, like bankrupt. And that is part of it. They're not going to let all of the blue hairs just keel over and die. Although, if you know anybody that's collecting those checks, it ain't much.
What do they count as national assets? Because you only have a $4 trillion discrepancy. If you look at the assets minus liabilities, that's your equity, right? So negative $4 trillion. What do they count as assets? Is that the White House? Is that an asset? Do they count Mount Rushmore as an asset?
Yeah, probably national parks.
Okay, so basically
oil
useless.
reserves underneath and things like that.
Okay, oil reserves, that's fine. That's good. So we're talking if they have Bitcoin, if they have oil reserves, if they have cash, that's fine. But if they're counting like the national parks, I don't know if that's maybe an asset because it produces some income. But if they count like the White House, that's zero. That's a liability.
I think they're talking about infrastructure, things that could produce things. Right?
Okay,
like
so
mineral rights, land rights, that kind of stuff. I don't know.
Potential.
Who knows? The screw. We can't even agree on the inflation numbers, and the CPI is always BS. I love how. Did you catch this the other day when they released? I know we talked about this a little bit, but when they released the employment and unemployment numbers and all this and the jobs numbers, they compared it to the unrevised. They said, this new number compared to the unrevised. Well, but that's not we know that they downward revise these things sometimes by an enormous amount. So Jeff Snyder did a cool video. I don't like all his videos that he does with that other guy that's kind of wormy, but the guy seems like kind of he might be a ped, but whatever. But anyway, on Sundays he does a cool video where it's kind of a recap of what's happened, and he said, you know, he looked at the last mini recessions and how there seems to be this big blip, like the Fed will cut, and then there's a big jump in employment. And then all of the dumbest dummy economists will go, it's solved, it's cured. Like, no, man, because the data is from the past. So the cuts made in September don't have any effect on the numbers collected before September because of timeline. I don't know, man. Like, nothing I do now is going to affect what happened in January of last year. Oh, yeah, because timeline. That's right. So now you have all these economists saying, oh, well, look, the policies in place are working. We can become more hawkish. They can stop. So what's going to happen? Well, we'll see. Anyway, the talk now is, oh, no, maybe just one more 25 basis point cut because, you know, rate cuts, they solve everything. And then nothing for the rest of the year. Wait till they downward revise the numbers from last week by a minimum of 31%, because that's the average. And
16 of the last 18 were cut, revised down, something like that.
Now, the best part is when they looked at the pre-inflation numbers, there was a print of 140 or 150,000 jobs the last recession, exactly the same as this one, almost to the month. It was like an October print. The Fed cut, they got a big print. It went from like 140,000. It got cut down to negative like 4,000 or something. Negative.
Oh.
So
what is that?
The numbers are cool. Now, the reason they say they have more belief in these numbers was because they agree with the household survey. And typically that is a way to kind of make sure that you're not completely skewed. But the makeup of the jobs was sketchy. And that's the thing that people are just kind of, don't talk about that. Don't worry about that. And that is that the jobs, like almost 70,000 of these new jobs were service, bars, restaurants, leisure, and travel. Okay. Do bars, restaurants, leisure, and travel tend to exceed everyone's expectations in a recession? Is that the first thing you're thinking, Brandon? If you hear world's going into recession, you're like,
I want to make sure the bars are doing okay.
It's time to take a trip.
Let's go. Hey, if my Delta's not doing okay, then.
Oh, I never asked. How long were those flights?
The longest one was 10 and a half hours. The longest single leg was 10 and a half from Amsterdam to Salt Lake City. Yeah. No, it's rough. And that one was rough because when we got on the plane, we waited an hour to take off because some girl had lost their bag in Amsterdam with a passport. She must have been a first class passenger because we waited the whole hour to go look through the airport to find the bag. And so then they got on. And then when we landed in Salt Lake, the jet bridge was broken. So we sat another hour. So we were on that plane for 12 and a half hours. Yeah, that was slap you in the face right there.
I bet those toilets had touched every ass on the plane.
Guaranteed. How could they not? I mean, come on.
Okay, we will talk
Not
about
mine.
the what we know about the hypercycle fork.
Oh, we're gonna talk about it. Let's do it.
Yeah, we should do it behind the wall.
Yep.
There's not a lot of detail. There will be a lot of detail. And if you're asking, do we know more than we're saying? Yes, we do. But we don't want to confuse the message. And the only thing I'll say in front of the wall is this is a good thing for everyone. It's good for the ASI community. It's good for the hypercycle community. If you own the token, good for you. You win twice. And I would just say, matter of fact, as we go behind the wall, Brandon, can you pull up kind of the effects right after the Bcash, the hash wars? Remember the block wars? So August, I think, if my memory serves, August 17th or 18th of 2017.
A Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash?
Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash after the fork, and then what happened directly after the fork. Anyway, we'll go behind the wall.
It's gonna be a ways. Let's see what we can do.
We're getting behind that wall. Kitty, meow meow. I got one wailing. I got a cat wailing. All right, we're gonna get behind this wall now. Take care of business. Business. I just got to find the right thing to click. I got to click the right thing. If I don't click the right thing, then nothing's been clicked.
Going behind the proverbial wall now to continue the broadcast privately for the digital investors and digital private clients. If you'd like to join us, simply go to nickblacknext.com and subscribe to one of our plans and immediately take advantage of our library of tools, tactics, and information. It's all designed to help you learn, grow, and manage your portfolio like a pro. Join us now. We're going behind the proverbial wall now to continue the broadcast privately for the digital.
When that son of a gun gets on a loop, it just do its own thing. Do it.